What's up everyone, Lance Hedrick here. Today I'm going to go over 3 ways to level up your home espresso game immediately. Alright, so I'm going to keep today's short, sweet, and simple, to the point. A lot of you have been asking for more short videos, so this will be one of those. This is going to be some basic stuff, so just be prepared for that. These are things that will immediately level up anyone's espresso game, regardless of who you are. A lot of you may already be implementing these, but for those who are not, please pay heed. Share this with friends and family who have an espresso machine and don't know what they're doing. And also hit the like and subscribe to help support me in my endeavors to make coffee accessible, and maybe hit that Patreon down below and check that out. Anyway, let's get started. The first thing to immediately improve your espresso game is a scale. Now, it doesn't have to be a fancy scale like this, although I do love the scale, but any scale will do. Something that can measure maybe to 1/10 of a gram. Now, the reason for this is so that you can be consistent with in doses, like dosing the amount of ground coffee, and measuring how much liquid is coming out. That way you can play with ratios, you can figure out what you do like, what you don't like, what works with certain coffees, what doesn't work with certain coffees, and you can keep track of that and have certain dial-in parameters so you waste a lot less coffee. So having a scale is of paramount importance. Now this one I wanted to show today because I'm really excited about it. This one, check this out, and I'll have it linked down below. This one you can detach the face of it. You can bring it wherever you want. It sticks to metal. So if you're, if you're wanting to use it up here for whatever reason, stick it on the side. You're walking around the house, arguing with your kids or whatever, you can, I don't know what's metal around here. I don't know. You can just shove it wherever you need and you can watch what's going on. I don't know why you do that during espresso. It's kind of cool during pour over. Anyway, this is a very expensive scale. I'm not saying this one, but get a scale that can measure maybe to 1/10 of a gram. And it can have a pretty wide margin of error. It doesn't really matter. What matters is you're getting roughly to the gram so that you can be consistent and so that you can work on dialing in your favorite coffees. All right. After you've dosed in your coffee, you've put it in, you've teared out your portafilter, teared it out, you filled your portafilter with coffee. The next most important thing to do after we know how much coffee is in there is to distribute the bed. Now, a lot of you, I know, you just pull it out, you give it a couple taps, and you tamp it down, and you're like, all right, good to go. That's not consistent. It's going to cause a lot of channeling, and it's going to just be problematic. And I'll link here, the first one of my 2 espresso tutorials for you to check out. But for now, no need to go look at that because I'm going to show you what you need to do. There is a tool called a WDT tool, a Weiss distribution technique tool. And this is going to solve a lot of your problems, especially if you have cheaper grinders. These are going to be cheap. If you have access to a public library that has a 3D machine, a 3D printer, I will put in the description below a link for this piece right here, which you can 3D print, referred to as the People's WDT tool. It was designed by someone in the Espresso Aficionado Discord. Chilled, thanks very much. And then you just buy some like acupuncture needles or 3D printing needles. I like to use 0.3 and 0.35 millimeters in this one. I also recently started using 0.25. If you want a really well-made, really nicely handmade one, this one's by Swartz Design out of San Francisco. It's like $50, I think. This one's 0.25 needles, which I've been liking as well. But it doesn't matter. Just get something that has needles like this. Good to go. This one's nice because you can magnetize it to the side, but do whatever you want. Anyway, this is how this works. We're going to take our grinder, I'm going to turn it on. We're going to use the scale that we just bought to level up our home game. Tear this out. We're going to figure out how much grounds are coming in. All right, done grinding. Wasn't that fast. So I'm going to take this, and we're going to weigh it. Okay, we're at 17.3. Good to know. All right, so what you do for WDT, oh wait, I'm looking at this and I'm going, wow, that's going to be really messy. So actually, when I said there's 3 things that'll level up, I guess it's technically 4. I count this as included with the WDT. This is a shot collar or something, there's a lot of different names for it. I'm gonna call it a shot collar. But essentially what it will do is it will keep your grounds from falling all over the place so that when you WDT, which is essentially this, we're just kind of stirring it around with these needles. But you wanna hold it level, obviously. And the way that I do it is deep, doing rotations and revolutions, just like the Earth around the sun, and come up all the way. Now look at our bed. Boom, look at this. So there are a lot of clumps that came out of this specific grinder. What I was able to do is evenly distribute those clumps, evenly distribute the bed. Now when I tap it, gets rid of any type of channel in there, and then I'm going to be able to tamp it, which actually is the very next thing I want to talk about after WDT. slash, I'm cheating. Oh, I'm a cheater. Slash shot collar. Ow, I poked myself. Be careful. I store these in a cup of rice, okay? No joke. Next thing, after we have this perfectly distributed bed, you don't want to use this tamper. This thing is not, I'll show you in a second why this is not ideal, but instead what we want to do is buy a tamper that properly fits our basket. All right, so find one. I'm using one by Espresso, but find one that fits perfectly, get it in there, and give it a good tamp. Now, why is this important? Well, because if your tamper is smaller than the bed of your puck, what's going to happen is the ring around is going to be essentially untamped. It's going to be loose, and water is going to be able to go through the edges really easily. It's not going to be that great of an extraction. So instead, do yourself a favor, get a tightly fitting tamp that's going to fit really well in there. Boom, you're going to be good to go. Another option, instead of getting something super tight, because honestly, arguably, a more level tamp is more important. Arguably, I'm not sitting here giving definitives, that's why I'm giving you two options. But arguably, a level tamp is more important than a fully covered tamp. So another option is to get what's called a self-leveling tamper. So this one, as you see, these sit on the lip of the portafilter. Then when you push down, it makes sure that you're level. So this, if I were to tamp with it, as you see right here, it sits on the edge of the basket. Then when I push, see, it makes me level. You can't go unlevel. Unlevel. You can't go unevenly. Got to make it an adverb? I don't know, because I said go, which is a verb, so you need an adverb with unevenly. Unstably. Anyway, so we push down, self-leveling tamper. So those are two options there as well. A proper tamper is going to level up your espresso game immediately. Then we're going to pop it in. We're going to pull a shot. Boom. All right. So there we have it. Now, so I'm going to show you the issue with, these tampers that come with your machine. Watch this. Are you ready? Watch this. That is not a tight fit at all. Look at that. Look at that. So what the issue with this, it's less about tight fit with this and more about when the tighter the fit is, the more difficult it is to be offline. So whenever it's like this, then I could tamp at whatever angle I want. This one, however, because of how perfectly fitting it is, see this? Look, I can't spin it at all. So if you want to go in at an angle, it won't really let you. You can go at a very slight angle, but not much at all. This, however, I could straight up tamp to the side if I wanted. I could tamp to the side. I could tamp into the side. It's whatever. Look at this. I mean, you can probably play a game. Look at that. See how long you get it spinning without falling out? And flip. Dab. Okay. So that's what we have there. Tampers, WDT, I cheated, shot collar, because these are like $5, no worries. And some sort of scale. Don't do that with your scale, you hurt the loading cells. Anyway, those are the three things I highly recommend that you get in order to immediately improve your espresso game. Gift this to a friend during the holiday season, gift it to a family member, whatever it might be, but these will be much appreciated if someone doesn't have them, or if you yourself don't have them. Highly recommend. You don't have to break the bank. You can get something cheap. Just ensure that it fits your portafilter, your basket, quite well. So if you have a 54 millimeter, you might want a 54.4 millimeter tamper. If you have a 58 millimeter, 58.5 millimeter tamper. Those are the kind of ones that I use for those respective portafilters. These WDTs, I recommend between 0.25 and 0.35 millimeter needles, okay? And I'm using, 8 or 9 needles in there. And then shot collar, just make sure it fits. What you don't want is a shot collar where it goes into the basket, okay? This one sits on the lip of the basket. That's ideal because you don't want it getting into your bed, messing that up. Anyway, that's my short video for you all. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that this levels you up. Again, hit that like and subscribe if you're still here. Check out the Patreon. Other than that, I hope you have a fantastic day, and cheers.